Health passports are something we had barely heard of a year ago, but now everybody is talking about them. Some form of passport or proof of health status is likely to be a lasting legacy of COVID-19. It's still in the early days for this, though. Airlines have begun developing their own systems, but these could change as governments get more involved. A health passport is a trusted document that confirms the holder's status concerning certain diseases. The concept isn't new. Yellow fever certificates are the best example of this. Many countries, particularly in Africa and South America, require proof of vaccination from travelers. But in 2021, the need for a health passport has expanded globally, and it now encompasses health-based apps being introduced by airlines. In time, it could also include more formal passport systems that governments may introduce. There are several COVID-19 health passport systems being developed by airlines. They essentially verify a passenger's status to crew, making it easier to cross borders. American Airlines became the first airline to fully introduce passports in January 2021, after trialing the VeriFly scheme at selected airports in November 2020. British Airways has since joined the system, and Alaska Airlines has announced they will also use VeriFly. The International Air Transport Association, or IATA, is also working on a travel pass product. This has similar functionality to the VeriFly app. However, with IATA support, we could see greater use across the industry. Early adopters of the pass include Singapore Airlines, Qatar Airways, Emirates, Etihad, and Copa Airlines. Others under development include IBM's Digital Health Pass and Common Pass from the World Economic Forum. VeriFly and IATA's Travel Pass have two main functions. Firstly, they present travelers with a full list of all tests, vaccinations, or other documentation required for their journey. This is no easy task in itself, with requirements for countries changing daily. Secondly, they store and verify passengers' documents. This is usually accomplished by verifying the authenticity of uploaded tests from a selection of permitted sources. This allows airlines to identify specific labs and sources for trusted tests. Alan Murray Hayden, head of airport passenger and security products at IATA, explained, "It is a mobile application which airlines can embed into their own applications. It enables passengers to create digital identifications, then receive their test results or vaccinations onto their phone in a way that's verifiable. Everybody can have confidence with it. We then have another module where you can check whether that vaccination or test result are sufficient for your journey." For these passports to progress, though, governments will have to buy in. IATA is working with both airlines and governments on its system, and several countries have expressed interest. The European Union has also started work on health passports. In a November interview with Simple Flying, Lufthansa executive Bjorn Becker revealed that governments in Europe are looking at immunity documentation and predicted widespread rollout. The European Commission has since met to discuss a common passport framework, and there is already early agreement on a common EU-wide scheme. The UK government has acknowledged the likely need for health passports, but has not released any plans. In the US, President Biden has launched a feasibility study into digital certificates. Collaboration in the EU, and further between more countries, is vital if passports are to work effectively. A separate system for each country could be just as complicated as the frequently changing requirements currently in place. British Airways has said that VeriFly will be updated to make sure passengers have a valid reason for leaving the United Kingdom, as mandated by the UK Prime Minister in January 2021.
Obviously, we want to do everything we can to open up, but only safely, only cautiously.
But will these passports ultimately be paper, much like existing passports, cards, like many countries' driving licenses, or purely digital, like the apps currently in use and development? There is no indication yet which way government-based systems will head. There are advantages and disadvantages for each. For the EU scheme, Ireland's Health Minister, Stephen Donnelly, spoke with News Talk, saying, "We can decide what's the easiest and most secure thing to do. In terms of is it paper-based or card-based, for example, like our driver's license, or is it a digital certificate that you might have to submit to an airline before being able to book a flight?" Whatever methods are chosen, the ability to update and verify a passenger's status will be essential, as will coordination between governments, airlines, and IATA. Different authorities and private companies can administer vaccinations and tests, and having many different airline apps, as well as paper and digital systems in use, will make airline and border processing slow and complicated. As for paper passports, one of the most compelling advantages is that many people already have them. The existing system has taken decades to develop, and people are already familiar with how it works. So, is there a way that health passports could be integrated with existing passports? Most passports now have a chip that records the main data, and this information is coded by issuing authorities. It seems unlikely that constantly changing health information would be added, but countries could link a digital health recording system to passports. The introduction of biometrics, in particular, offers new ways to handle identity and document checks. There have been several trials, including with Emirates for London and Australian flights with a One ID system. Many airlines and airports have also introduced facial recognition border gates and passport controls. We are likely to see much more of this post-COVID, but we are still some way from any government removing the paper passport entirely. As the use of health passports expands, data privacy will become a greater concern. Data breaches are a costly and damaging risk for airlines, so developers are already taking this into account. The IATA Travel Pass works without a centralized database, giving passengers control of the data. Health passports are likely to be a lasting legacy of the coronavirus pandemic, and the removal of contact from our travel experiences will be another. App-based systems, contactless gates, and biometric screening all embrace this new touchless model. The possibilities of these more secure and contactless technologies are exciting, but will governments, airlines, and passengers embrace them? Whatever the solution, or more realistically, solutions, making the process easy for travelers and giving airlines and governments confidence in the accuracy of results is vital. An unmanaged system will be confusing for passengers and complex and risky for airlines. Of course, there will be challenges, from verifying identities to securely storing data to financing this new system. And no doubt, some people will object to the collection of data, and perhaps even to testing and vaccination. Paul Charles, the founder of PC Agency, explained the challenge of mixed options, saying, "There are those who believe that health apps will help the sector recover better and faster. And there are those who believe that adding more demands onto travelers to prove that they're COVID-free will put off people from traveling, because there are so many layers of complexity in terms of visiting another country." We'll just have to wait and see what the industry settles on, and if there can be a successful balance between simplicity, accessibility, and security. What do you think of health passports? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Did you know that we publish over 175 stories every single week on simpleflying.com? Be sure to check the link in the description for more great stories just like this.